Ah, hello. Hey, there we go. Let's see if that's working. Heyo. Alright. So, here, well, this is actually the graph version, but what we have here is the last version of the video players from the last tutorial, and I'm going to be making them networked between multiple people. And wow, I need to turn down the Breath of the Wild music. How's it on your guys' end? You know, just turn my volume down. There we go. Alright, so this is the graph one. Only thing I've changed on this since the videos, I've just cleaned up the graph area a little bit with some, what are they called? Groups? Yeah, groups. But again, it just kind of sets up everything and starts playing. And I'm going to set this up to network it. I'm going to start with the script itself, though, because that's a lot easier for me to start with, and then transfer it over into graphs. So I'll just drop that and get the Udon Sharp version. This is just a version that has the Udon Sharp script. So double click to open. All right. So, let's see here. What do we start with? I took some notes earlier when I was playing around with this. Let me find them. Nope. There we go. Okay. So, first we need to, oh, no, skip YouTube trial. There we go. Tab lobby. Okay, yeah, I can adjust that quick. I know it likes to change volume because Breath of the Wild music, so it's like suddenly loud piano, quiet piano, and stuff. Alright, come on, just... I'm trying to set up chat on my phone because, again, I only have one monitor. There we go, that should be fine. Alright, so first, we want to have a URL that is synced between all the different players. So, like, if the person goes up to this thing and types in a URL and loads it, we want it to load that URL for all the different players. So, trying to think how to do this because this Visual Studio does seem to be overlaying. Trying to figure out how, like, I guess I just have to go into OBS to toggle Visual Studio away. There we go. But yeah, I just waved the mouse around. Anyway, back into scripting. So let's do a... let's go with public for now. I don't know how much I'm going to need this. Public VRC URL synced URL. Now we want to set that URL whenever someone does the load thing. So let's see, how do we want to do this? Yeah, I'm double checking a bunch of notes that I took from the last time I set this up. There's a lot of steps. As I said, this is not going to be a short, concise explanation. This is going to be me working through this until it works. I say until it works. Until it works enough. VRChat is going to have a big networking update in a while, so we can only work within those bounds. Alright, so here we have the synced URL, but it's just called synced URL. It's not actually synced. So we need to go in front of it and type Udon synced. And that makes it a synced variable between different users. So the way that networking works in VRChat is... Why does my phone keep stopping the video? There we go. The way that networking works in VRChat is there's a owner of every object, and they're the person who actually manages all of the information for synced variables. When that information gets sent out, that's about 4 times every second in an event called on deserialization, which is how like other people receive it. On your side, as like the owner for a synced variable, it's on serialization, meaning like when you're packaging it up to send to everyone else. We don't have to worry about that one, but we do need to make sure that the person who is editing the text here is the owner of this object, because otherwise they are unable to edit any of the synced information. Only the owner of a synced object can modify any of the synced variables. So let's say someone tries to click on our input field here to start typing something in. We need to say, oh, when this is clicked, set them as the owner. Now, on our OBS, I'll probably have a hotkey for this eventually. On our input field here, you'll see we have on value changed and on end string. Those are useless to us at the moment because they are not on click. And we need to know when someone clicks on this before we change anything. Yes, networking is wild and could be better, but this is what we're doing. So instead of using those two, we're going to have a... what is it called? It's a UI event. It's a event trigger. Here we go. Event trigger. Ooh, event trigger. There we go. And this just basically allows us to make up an event for this. So we're going to do on select, which is basically on click. And in here, like we would do over here, or like we did for our other buttons, we just put our stuff in. So I'm just gonna hide these two, don't need them right now. I'm gonna put in our CD player, go from no function, go down to Udon behavior, and find send custom event, and we're gonna do set owner. I'm gonna copy that, so that's gonna be the name of an event that sets the person who clicked this to be the owner. So let's go down. Let's do this. Let's do this early up here. So we'll do public void. It needs to be public so you can send events to it. Set owner. Now in here we need to set the person who's the local player to be the owner of it. Only if they're not the owner, because then otherwise you're taking up unnecessary network space. So if networking.local player does not equal networking, wait, no, actually this is, we can do this simpler. Networking.is owner. So basically this is just instantly is the local player the owner of a game object. and we just put game object in here, so that references the object that this script is on. So if they're the owner, we don't want to do anything. So we'll actually put an exclamation mark here to say, if you're not the owner, we'll just do networking.setOwner, networking.localPlayer. We need to set the local player to be the owner of game object. There we go. All right, so now when someone, let me tab it in OBS. Oh, actually, you didn't see any of that. Whoops. This is hard. Streaming is difficult. Hi, Ryan. All right, so I'll just go over that again because you missed all of this. If you're not the owner of the game object, we're setting the owner of this game object to be you. Am I just bad at OBS? Probably. Alright. And so this fires on the select. So I'm actually going to do a quick debug log to prove that this is working. Debug.log, not log error, log set the owner. Now, do note, anything that has to do with networking doesn't happen when you're in the editor because there's no server that it's managing players through or different things. So all of this is just happening when you're in VR chat. At least the owner and those things. Those don't happen in Unity. But we can prove that this set owner event is happening by making sure we have a event system in our scene so that we can click on UI. I'm also going to stretch this a little bit so that I can actually click on the UI here. As soon as it's done loading. Alright, so let's open up our console, clear everything, do that. And you can see that when I click on it, it sets the owner to there. And that's all we need to do with that. So I can just get rid of this debug log. Don't need that anymore. Now, when the person is done, let's see. The other way we want to do this, okay, we want to set the synced URL. Okay, so we're going to have load actually not load the video. It's just going to set a new synced URL. And when there's a new synced URL, we just load that URL. So it's going to be a little bit of a weird process, but I'm sure it will work. All right, back in here. All right, so load URL. We'll actually do a new event, public void set URL. And we only want to do this if you are the owner of the object again, because otherwise there's nothing that you can actually do with this. So I'm going to copy this, but actually I'm going to shorthand some stuff here. So instead of saying if you're not the owner and then doing everything in brackets, I'm going to say if you are the owner, return. And then that just doesn't do anything for the rest of the event if you're not the owner. So for everyone else, we'll just put it through here and say synced URL equals, and then we're going to get UR field get URL, and that's it for that. So this is saving the URL that a person has typed in here if they are the owner of it and when they're done typing. So excuse me. So later when we're going to be calling video player load URL, we're actually going to be calling it from synced URL instead of the URL field here. So we can just put this here, replace that, and this should work. Let me just come back into Unity and look at a few things. There we go. All right, so since we changed the event that we're going to be calling to be set URL instead of load URL, I'm going to change this to be set URL here so that our load button actually calls that as well. Now we want to do an event. This should work. Famous last words. Yeah. All right. So up here, we're going to have the event I talked about earlier, which was on deserialization, so that we can know when a value has changed. So public. This is a VRChat event, so we need to do override on deserialization, and that autofills with void and base.on deserialization, and we don't need that, and in fact it will break things if we leave that, so we're getting rid of it. And in here is where we need to check if the old URL that we are using is different from the synced URL, because that means someone has sent you a new URL. So up here we need to have another variable, which is our, let's see, which is a private VRC URL old URL. Actually, we'll just call this loaded URL instead, because this is what we'll be actively playing from. So on deserialization, we'll do if loaded URL does not equal synced URL. Immediately we'll set loaded URL to equal synced URL. And then we want to call load URL. Oops. Load URL as an event. So we'll have our new URL, and then we'll set that down here. But if we're saving this locally, we can just grab loaded URL and put that in the synced stuff instead. So let's just give this a quick test and see if none of it works. All right, OBS. Oh, again, you missed all of that. Whoops. Okay, actually, hold on. I might be making this whole streaming thing too hard on myself. There we go. We're just swapping to this one. All right, you're seeing my whole screen now. That's fine. Probably. Now you know for a fact this character isn't like edited in post. He's just actually sitting on my desktop covering my screen. All right, so VRChat lets us do some fun things with testing out things locally. And that's, well, one of those things is setting a number of clients that you launch. So I'm going to launch 2 different clients, Force Non-VR, and build and test. So we're going to see if any of this makes any sense. There's a decent chance that just nothing will happen because I'm not awake, maybe. I mean, I'm awake, I'm just coming up with excuses. Alright, now VRChat, get over there. Other VRChat, get over there. Ooh, I'm gonna pause that because game's loud. Still loud. Alright. That stopped working. Ah, whatever, it's fine. Probably. So I'm actually just going to grab this URL because it's what I'm listening to. Come on, VRChat. There we go. And I'm going to go up here, paste it, hit load, and let's see what we got here. Not seeing any errors actually, but nothing's happening. Let's see what happens when I paste the URL on this thing. I don't know what any of that means. Alright, let's get out of the way. Yeah, at the end of the stream I'll probably just post whatever code I figure out. Alright, so let's look back at what we got here. So if loaded URL does not equal synced URL, we do that and then we do it. In load URL, we stop the video and we load the URL. Right, I forgot. Fun fact, synced variables, sometimes, I actually don't know how many of these, how many different variables do this, but I know video players do. Whenever the owner of a synced object changes, for one frame, all of the synced variables are considered empty. So we only need to be doing this when everything. How do you see the log readout? Let me pull up Steam actually quick. It's a launch property. What's it called? Set launch options. Enable debug GUI and enable SDK log levels. You put that in there. I actually don't know where you're supposed to get those normally. I got them on one of the Discords, I don't know. You put them in your launch options and then you hold right shift, tilde, and 3. It's more effort than you probably need, but it's nice. So let's see here. We need to know for sure certain whether or not the video is changed. And because basically what's happening is for the first on deserialization after the owner has changed, the synced URL is blank, and thus it tries to load a empty video and nothing happens. So we're gonna have a counter for current video. So we'll do a public int current video, and that is going to be synced as well. Alright. Yeah, no problem. So current video is just going to be an int, and every time that we do set URL, we want current video to be plus equals 1. Then we're going to have a not synced int. So I'll just put that in the not synced category. A private int loaded video. Actually, no, I have private stuff up here. There we go. All right. So we want to see if loaded video is different from current video. Actually, why did this work differently? Hold on, because this is a synced event. Why? Let me just look through the code I made the other day. Alright, start owner. Man, code is impossible to read when you send it to yourself on Discord on your phone. Yeah, 1 second. Player owner. Pause, play, load. Where on earth did I put on deserialization? Here we go. Deserialization. Alright. If loaded video number does not equal video number. Okay, so we need to do a few different checks in here actually. So here, let me pull up YouTube again on my phone so I can see if anyone says something. We need to check to see if hold on. This just played like the same thing like 4 different times. There we go. All right. So in here, we need to make sure that the URL is not blank. So if synced URL does not equal, wait, no. We need to do synced URL dot get, and this turns the URL into a string so that we can actually compare it to real strings, because URLs are a protected variable and are weird like that. Alright, so if it doesn't equal empty and whoops, and synced URL.get does not equal, let's see, was it string.empty or was I comparing to null? Null, correct. Alright, so if it's not null and it's not empty, we do these things. Now, another thing that we need to set up is a lot of times when someone else is loading a video for the first time, they'll get a network error, kind of, where it's not like it's an actual error. It's more just that, oh, we didn't have enough time to load the video after we got all the networking stuff. So we need to go down and let's make a public override on video error. Here we go. So this basically gives us access to whatever error type we get if the video errors out. So the way that I get around these issues is I compare it to see if it's a certain type of error. Let's do if video error equals, and we can see different types of video errors by control clicking video error. And it's like unknown, invalid URL, access denied, player error, or rate limited. Rate limited is what we're after. So if this equals video error dot rate limited, we are just going to do loaded here. Actually, I want to rename these to be loaded video number. And current video to be current video number. All right, I'm going to pull up my stream on a different, I'm going to pull it up on my phone on my account that actually has paid YouTube so that I don't have to keep resuming the video every time I tab in. Faugen. All right, there we go. So if loaded video number, wait, no. If we got rate limited, we'll do loaded video number minus equals 1. So up here, if loaded video number does not equal the current video number, which is a synced variable, well, actually I haven't set it in here yet, so loaded video number equals current video number. This is just like how we're check. Do I actually even need a loaded URL variable versus a synced URL variable? If I already have that, I'm looking for private. No, I actually didn't even. Okay, so yeah, we don't need loaded URL. We only need access to synced URL because that's the only thing that we're checking. So on deserialization, if that's different, we just call load URL. And down here, instead of loaded URL, we do synced URL. Let me go back into YouTube. All right, so now that we've changed everything and done an unnecessary amount of nonsense, let's go back into Unity, let everything compile. Eventually it compiles, there we go. And let's boot up VRChat with 2 clients, non-VR, and build and test. And then we wait a bit more. So basically, all we're really trying to do at the moment is just say, oh, is the URL I'm supposed to load different? And if it is, we just give it a different URL. All right, so let's go grab just this. Oop. Go here. Alright, so transferred the owner, but failed to call the function of class network manager. What does that mean? That's probably fine, right? What is happening? Oh, that's just all the application lost focus and it tried to update something. The problem is when you're testing locally like this, you get a lot of nonsense. It just fills up the stuff. Okay, so if I'm in this one and I paste the URL, so just make sure I'm the owner. Enter, and I hit load. Literally nothing happens. Alright. Excuse me. Lovely. Go over here. Alright, so let's go through here. So the problem happens when I hit load URL. So load URL, it does set URL. Why did I make these two different things? Ah, I see. I have seemingly told it to do nothing. Because okay, so here's the problem. In here, we're checking if you are the owner of the object, meaning you're able to do things. If you are the owner, I say return and quit, so you can't actually do the rest of it. So if you're not the owner, ha ha ha. All right, we've figured it out. We've solved science. Let me actually make sure that load URL is still what's called. Okay, yeah. Alright, let's give us 2. Build and test. Let's see if it works now. You can do it, VRChat. There we are. I should probably turn off the menu music. Alright, pause that video. Settings, UI, empty, off. Then in here, pause. That's on. Okay. So let's go copy the URL again. Actually, I'll just copy this one because it's shorter. I can see if I've typed it right. So we'll go into this one, paste, enter, and hit load. Alright, it loads for not the owner, which means... Ah, right, I forgot. On deserialization is the version of the event that happens if you're not the owner. On serialization is the one that happens if you are the owner. So it's never loading the URL for you. Which means we can just ignore this, actually. In fact, we are going to ignore this for the master. So this is fine. During set URL, we do this. Now we want to locally, for the owner, just call load URL. Because as you saw, it just didn't start the video for the owner. And in load URL again, it stops whatever the player is doing. The video player. And that loads the synced URL. And as soon as the synced URL is loaded, it just activates play. So once again, we'll load up 2 and play. build and test. Now, the really interesting part about all this is, well, we've actually probably got this working now. I'm gonna entirely jinx myself, but if this is fully working now, then we get to set up it to work for people who join in late, which is going to be interesting. All right, so paste URL and load. There we go. It's playing for both sides now because the synced URL actually transferred over. Now, you may notice that it's not synced time-wise, but we'll get to that in a bit where we're syncing the time of the video. Now, I do just want to make sure that late joiners get that to load correctly. And late joiners are actually really the only reason that we have this line in here, which is where we're checking for rate limited. Because there's a lot of networking things that happen on your side when you launch up a world in VRChat, because it's like throwing you all the information at once. So you'll typically get a rate limited error when you load in. And that's just going to force the loaded video number to be different from current video number every time it fails. So we're just going to launch up 2 again without making any changes, but we're going to jump into one of them and not the other one, change the URL, and then we'll load a different one, if that makes any sense. Alright, pause, and I'll just kill the audio on that. Paste, load. Alright, and it's loading this video. So if we tab into our other one, theoretically, alright, so it starts playing that right away, but it immediately stops and swaps into the new video. Alright, we've got it loading videos for late joiners and whenever someone changes the URL. I guess I can just prove this by grabbing another thing. Can I not just copy link address? Actually, is that even going to work in the slightest? Oh, wait. There we go. That explains that. Ooh, okay. So you see there, I took ownership of this and we encountered an error. So you see like over here, ooh, whoops. If I click this, actually why did that? Okay. Alright, so when I clicked on the other one, I lost control of it. So okay, so my guess is as soon as the person is no longer the owner of it, they're immediately starting to compare current video number with loaded URL number, loaded video number. And for the owner, I'm never actually setting the loaded video number. So we'll just do that in here. Loaded video number equals current video number. So we'll just run that test again and see if that all works. Any fancy projects that any of you guys have been up to? I have chat open and I think it's not broken. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it seems to be loaded. Oh, hi Shadow. Okay, yeah, it wasn't loaded. Alright, it is now. Alright, so I'm gonna load a URL in this one just to simulate exactly what we did the first time. There we go. It's just a long start of the video, I guess. Probably because it's an hour long, but whatever. Then I click over here. And the right side is no longer restarting the video when I do that. Perfect. So we fixed that problem. But now, let's say someone's playing like an hour-long video, and we want that to be synced. But the people who come in later, it's not synced for. And what if someone's lagging behind? They need it to automatically resync after a certain amount of time. So that's going to be the rest of the stream. So yeah, let me pull up my notes from the previous stuff. Actually, we can do one thing quick. So we want to be able to let people know who the owner of an object is, just so it's a bit more clear what's happening. So I'm going to take like this text element here. Oop, there we go. Turn off progrids. And we're going to have this say owner space. And we're just going to make this as wide as the input field is. Which is apparently... Hold on. Ah, I understand. There we go. So, text owner. And we're just going to be changing this to show who the owner is. Yeah, we'll just pin that against the bottom there. So on our video player, oh, actually, so these are public. These are synced between people, but they actually don't need to be public. So I'll have these be private, so they don't show in the inspector. You can have them. You can have things be public and not show in the inspector just by doing another set of brackets and doing hide in inspector. You don't actually have to do another set of brackets. You can just delete the two between it and do comma, and then it's the same thing. But they don't need to be public, so I'll just set them to be private. We're not going to be accessing them from any other scripts. We're just having everything in this one script. This is going to be a nightmare. Alright, so when the person clicks on this to become the owner, so in set owner, we need to set the name, the text in this thing to be a certain thing. So we're going to have a public text owner text. No, text owner. There we go. And we're just going to set that in the inspector, but for now, set owner. Yeah, we're just going to send. Okay, we're going to send a custom event to everyone. There's a public void set owner name. No, that's dumb. No. Okay, it's dumb, but it's what we're doing. Alright, so if you're not the owner, we'll do send custom network event. We'll send this to hold on. All right, so this doesn't like to autofill in Visual Studio. So what I'm going to do is go up here, and where we have using and then all this nonsense, I'm going to do using VRC Udon common interfaces. Now, what this does is it allows us to access like which people to send a event to. Or you can just keep using this, but we need a network event target dot all. So we're going to send this to everyone, and we're going to send them set owner name, and just give it a string of like what's happening in here. Wait, I feel like I did this differently and better before. Let me check through my stuff again. Set owner, networking, okay, yeah, I didn't do any of that in set owner. This is probably on deserialization instead, isn't it? On deserialization, if owner plane, no, where did I set this? Because I know I set this up. Right, I forget. There's an event called on ownership transfer that we can just get access to. I forgot about that. So we'll do public override on ownership transferred. So this happens whenever the owner of this game object changes. So that happens for everyone. So it's going to be really nice. We'll do text. Where did my type go? Okay, whatever. Text owner dot text equals, and then we'll do the word owner colon space plus networking dot get owner dot the hold on, networking get owner, right, game object. And once we have that, we need to do dot display name. Whew, all right, so that's a bit. Let me tab back into YouTube to make sure everything's working. All right. So basically, we're setting the text of this text element to be owner equals like the name, like the display name of the person who owns this object. Whew. All right. Then in here, we tab back in, we wait for it to compile. Then when it's done compiling, I'm just going to drag text owner into the text owner slot I have over here. There we go. Pop that in. Save. And we can go back to doing our timing stuff, which is going to be slow. Alright, where do I start with this? So immediately we're going to be doing some stuff in update, which automatically makes this not efficient. So after these, I'm going to put update here. So private void update. In here, we need to do some stuff with time. So, let's see, how did I name this before? Did I have... Okay. So, Udon synced. We're going to need a float. Udon synced. We're going to do private float video time. So video time is what the owner of the object will be setting every time while the video is playing. So if networking.isOwner game object, oops, wrong game object with lower g, we'll do this stuff. Video time, actually no, we don't need to be setting the video time if the video is not playing. So if video player.is playing, video time equals video player.get time, and that's a function, so parentheses. Now if you're not the owner, we want this to be happening. Actually, I'm going to invert these a little bit. So here, this is going to look garbage for a second. Oops. It's going to look deleted for a second. All right. So if the video is playing, then we do all of our fancy stuff. So if you're the owner, we set the time to be the time. If you're not the owner, we need to set it to be the time of the owner. The problem is we don't want to do that every frame because that's super not efficient. It's super network intensive. And it just sounds honestly annoying. I'm not quite sure what would happen. Actually, that would probably just destroy the audio of the video. But instead, we're going to have a timer that we go through. And like every X amount of seconds, we'll set the time so that it's different. But we only want to set it to be that time if we've reached a certain variance between your time and the synced time. And this is why I couldn't make this a short video. So, video time, yeah, we're just saying that. We need to have a variable for a timer. What did I do for this? Actually, okay, so the timer is only checking for a variance between the two videos. So we don't need a timer variable. We do need to check the difference between them. Let me tab back into YouTube. No. Hello, Blackson. You're welcome. Alright, so we need to check the absolute difference between, let's say, 2 seconds. Let's say we'll have a maximum of 2 second difference. And the differences between the video player time and the synced time. So if the video is playing, if you're the owner, we set that. Else, that's not else. We need to check if math f dot absolute, then we'll do video time minus video player dot get time is greater than 2. Video player dot set time, video time. Oh, Black Sun. Okay, that makes sense. Hello, highlight. Okay, now, so this is just saying, oh, if the time between the video and if the time between the owner of the video is 2 seconds different from your video, you might catch an issue that this is going to cause. So if videoPlayer.isPlaying is only applicable locally, meaning you might be trying to play the video locally, but the owner might have paused the video. So if this keeps running, the video will continue progressing by 2 seconds and then get reset back every 2 seconds. So we need to know if the owner presently is playing or not playing the video. So we're going to have a synced bool to do that. Udon synced private bool owner playing. The UI for the video player is not interactable in game, but works in play mode. Make sure. Okay, you want to make sure a couple things on that. One, you want to make sure that all of your UI is on not the UI layer, so probably the default or walkthrough layers. Two, make sure your canvas, the base object of your UI, has a VRC UI shape on it so that you can interact with it. And honestly, I don't think there's anything more you would have to do to make it interactable. Just go through those two and see what you can do. All right, so owner playing is false by default, but we need to set this whenever the owner plays. So play pause. Okay, so this is going to be a little... Actually, just for now, instead of setting this up, I'm going to save, go into Unity, and show the differences that this allows for. So like, when we load in and get a different video loaded in and someone else joins late, we want to make sure we're at the same time of that video. Which means I'm going to need a video that's a bit more obvious that time has progressed than the Zelda stuff. Yeah, no problem. All right. So I'm just actually, here, I'll just grab one of my videos. Because I'm sure I can't copyright strike myself, right? Here we go. This thing is dumb. Dumb, short, and more dumb. Alright, so paste this. We'll load. And perfect, that's playing. We'll go into the second one, because it has that big transition at the front, which is why I wanted to make sure it actually loads. Yeah, perfect. Alright. So as you see, they're both up to date despite the second person having joined in later. And basically you can set the 2-second timer to be a different number, like you can have it be 1 second if you want it closer. I just find 2 seconds to be reliable because you don't have to worry about much of a difference But 2 seconds is also the typical delay between everyone in a conversation. So you don't really have to check that much. So both of these are working. And let's get the owner playing check working. So we already have our play pause button calling play pause. So in play pause, we'll do if networking dot is owner game object owner playing equals video player dot is playing. That's not a function. Perfect. Refresh on my phone here quick. All right, so now we know if the owner of the video player is playing or not. So on deserialization, when we get the owner playing variable, oh, excuse me. Actually, hold on. Owner playing is right now is only being set during that. So I'm gonna have to copy this because this only changes if the owner has pressed the button. We also want it to change here because this is when videos normally hit play, which is just when the URL is loaded in. So in on deserialization, here we go. So we do our new video check, then afterwards we do if, actually I'll just paste this in again just to get our networking is owner game object. So we want to know if you're not the owner, if owner playing does not equal video player dot is playing. Not sure why that didn't run. All right, so this is different. If owner playing, we'll do video player dot play, and if owner's not playing, so else, I wish that broke automatically, video player dot pause. So if you're not the owner, and that's different, work accordingly. All right. Just saving our scene here. And let's boot up 2 more. And I'll do the same thing where I load up a video in one scene, then I'm going to wait a little bit and then pause it, and then in the other scene I'll then load in, and we'll get all this working eventually, maybe. Paste, load. Wait a little bit so it's in a ways, and then pass transition here. There we go. I'll just pause. And then on the other one, we'll load in. the volume down. All right. Okay, so it worked. The problem is that it doesn't look like it worked if a late joiner comes into an instance where it paused, because there will be nothing rendered to the screen yet. It'll just be black. Is that an issue? I'm not sure if that is. That sounds negligible, and it does not make it less intuitive as to what's happening. So let's go back to the owner. Actually, that's not doing anything. It's supposed to be saying who the owner is. Oh well. Hit play. And on the right side, the mouth is moving again. If I hit pause, he stops. Play and pause is happening at a slightly different point. So you'll likely not... Okay, so if someone pauses it and they're like, haha, funny freeze frame, this won't catch that at the right time because we have our max 2-second difference. So if pause, we'll do video player dot set time, video time, and that will make funny freeze frames be at the same time. Just for safety, I'm gonna put this before pause because I don't know if setting time changes the pause event or not, but I don't trust it. Actually, no, that does work. You can have pause in front. I feel like there was one event where it was like, oh, doing this automatically made it unpause, but I think that might have been an issue earlier on and not anymore. Alright, so this lets us get funny freeze frames, haha. Owner.text. For some reason this was never updating, so let's make sure we got that in the right spot. Text owner, yep. So this happens on ownership transferred. Oh, because I never transferred ownership. This only, it was only like the owner right away. So we'll just do this in start as well. Pause icon maybe? I was planning to do that originally, and then I just never made textures for it. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Yeah, I'll set up a pause icon on this right as soon as we get this set up. Move over here. Yeah, because that means we'll be having two different buttons, play and pause, and we'll be toggling between the two of them to do our different stuff. They'll both send the same event, so I don't have to change any of that. I'm just going to have their UI also be doing other things. Okay, yep, we got owner Valg in there. That's not the right URL. Oop, I play pause instead of load. Alright. It's working there. If I come back over here, just so joining players see that it's the pause and not frozen. Yeah, let's go. Oop, there we go. I always forget to mute. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I can do that. Actually, wait, I don't need to do that. Alright, so this should be frame to frame identical. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Alright, so that means late joiners get it updated at the right time. Playing and pausing functions so that the owner controls everything. Yeah, okay, so late joiners. Oh, because if it is paused, okay, that would have to be separate from just a local toggle. Okay. So we'll have this be button pause. We're just going to send the same event, but it's only going to say pause on it. Oop. If I can type. Alright, we're going to disable pause right away. So we need a reference to these two different objects in the script. So we're going to do public game object array buttons. Actually, no, we'll just have two separate ones to keep this clear. Public game object button play and public game object button pause. Actually, now that I think about it, we have this running, so we only want this to happen if you're the owner. Yeah, because otherwise you might pause it and then and then it immediately tries to like play again. So yeah, we only want to do anything in here if you're the owner. And again, this is only if you want the time of a video to be entirely synced. Otherwise, you can cut out those specific steps. Yeah, at this point, it gets to be a lot of, oh, what features do you want? Because there can just be a million different things that go into video players. Like playlists. Those aren't a feature, but you can make them really hard. Alright, so what was I doing? Ah, yes, play and pause. Alright, so button play and button pause. On deserialization, if you're not the owner playing, alright. Okay, so we want button pause set active to be false, not face legacy. And I'll duplicate this line to do play and true, so that we're turning on the play button when it's playing and we're turning the pause button off. I'll copy that, put it on here, and just swap this to be true and this one to be false. Now we also need this to happen for the owner when he's pressing the button. So pause. Let's see, we want the pause button to be active. So up here we'll just swap this. Alright, so let's go back into Unity and see if any of this actually works when we boot into game. After of course, we set these references. Haha, it'd be so funny if I forgot to set the references again. Alright, play and pause. To force build, and we're going back in. Yeah, I'll definitely post images of the graph and the C# script. Just so people can have references to them after this. But I'll have the actual files and all the models and stuff for that on my Patreon, like I've done for the rest of the videos. Alright, so bump in here. Actually, nothing's happening. That's a good question. I'm not sure why it's a question. I just thought in my head, that's a good question. Did something happen? Loading failed. Codec not supported. Video resolution too high or insufficient system resources. What? What on earth is that error? That is interesting. Oops. Alright. Let me just go copy that URL again. Alright, so that one works. Not sure why it failed there. Alright. So we have it paused in here. Let's go over here and try it out. No, it's definitely doing the same problem. Ah, I have it inverted. I have the check for if the owner's playing or not inverted. So that's in undecisive. All right. All right. If owner playing does not equal video player that is playing, so if the situation between you, the owner, and you, the video player, is different. If the owner is playing, we play the video, we set the pause button false and the play button true. Wait a minute, hold on. So if it's presently playing, we want the pause button to be visible. And if it's presently paused, we want the play video. Because it plays when you press the right, yeah. Right. Button pause. If it's paused, we want the play one to be visible. So false and true. Alright, because it plays when you press load. So load URL, yeah. So on video ready, we also need to be doing this. Yeah, I'm once again going to copy this from up here. Actually, wait. Yeah. All right. Pause. Play active. Else thing. Wait. Whew. I'm getting distracted. All right. Play pause if you're the owner. Do this thing. If you're playing it, we don't need this, right? No, we do. Oh, I see. There we go. We were setting the value of the owner playing it before the owner changed if he was playing it or not. Alright. So I can just grab this and go into on video ready. Actually, I already have it here. So, wait, on video ready. Pause. I just got confused why I saw the same script twice, but yeah, it's because it needs to be there twice. Alright, copied and pasted. And this should... No, I'm not going to say it should work. Because that just means it's not going to work. I think this isn't going to work. That's secretly me trying to make it work. Fun fact. So yeah, 90% of making VRChat stuff and Unity stuff in general is just trial and error. Yeah, you'll absolutely get used to that. There's a reason it took me like 2 months to do the 2 halves of the video player tutorial. Alright, pause that. Alright, load. Hmm. I fail file error. All right. I've been silent for a hot second, but I think I know the situation here. All right. So when load button does stuff, normally it's just supposed to play. So when I'm calling this, let's see, if you're the owner. Alright, so on video rate, so like when a new video is ready, we want to ignore whether or not the video player was playing. We want to just straight go to it playing. Hold on, this is Minecraft music? What happened? No, supposedly it's Zelda. Alright, screwed up some kind of indentation here. Alright, on video ready, play. If you are the owner, the pause button should be true, and the other one should be false. And owner playing equals true. Okay, this is actually just going to put me asleep. There we go. Back to Zelda. I'm convinced that wasn't Zelda. I don't know what that was. Okay, so when we load a new video and it's ready, we do that stuff. Perfect. All right, let's run another test and see what happens. And while this is doing, I'm gonna open the windows. There we go. Okay, note to self, the pause one needs to be enabled by default. Have I broken everything? Alright, let's look at what's happening here. So, when I press the play button, and when I'm the owner of it, we check to see if the video is playing. If it is, we set it to be false. We set the pause button to be false, and we set the play button to be true. Otherwise, meaning the video is paused, we play the video, we set the pause button available to be true and the play button to be false. Then we set owner playing equals video player.isPlaying. Meaning after this it would be false in this one, it would be true in this one, and this one it would be false. So let's figure out what other times we're calling these things. So in here on deserialization, if you're not the owner, all right, owner playing, video player play button. I think that's right. Yeah. Pause, play, set time. So why'd it go all wonky there? On video ready. Alright, let's see how much this gets fixed just by me setting the right button to be active at the beginning. Because we have the video player set to autoplay, and our script overrides that setting anyway, because it just plays. So we want pause to be enabled by default. And let's test this test. So I just hit 1,000 subs on YouTube, and that's amazing. But I find it really funny how they've decided to express that number on my page. Instead of having 1,010 as like how many subscribers I have shown, it says 1.01k. I find that to be hilarious. Let's grab that again. Back in the player. Load. Alright, so that's loading. Oh, that's playing. It's at the right. And by at the right, I mean it's playing the video correctly. Play, so it's paused. Wait. Hold on. Pause. How'd that screw up? How did I do that? How did I get them inverted for like the first test? Come on. There we are. Couldn't find my mouse. Alright. I think... Alright, let me just run that again. I'm not sure what caused that initial issue. Because it definitely was wrong there for a moment. See, it was wrong on the master side, so it has to be in where the master control sits. So if you're the owner, yeah. Here, I'll just manually set these in here to be owner, price. Owner playing equals false. And I'll do that in here, true. Because I'm not certain that actually updated in time. No, that should be fine. Man, now I'm second guessing everything. Yeah, because no longer playing there. Well, outside of that one issue, I think we have the whole thing set up. We have it synced between multiple people that come in. Let's see, it allows you to change who's playing the video just by like whoever puts in the text. So they can become the new masters of it. We have a play pause button that works if you're the master, but since we have it time synced, the button is irrelevant for people who aren't playing the video, like who aren't the owner of the object. So I guess I'll do the for test and see if anything crops up. Basically what I do with this one is I just test it with 4 separate clients to see if anything breaks. And that's basically how I test everything the last time before I post it. So I'm gonna have 4 separate VR chats loading up. While that's happening, just copy this link again. Alright, top right, you're first. Alright, before I input that link, I'm gonna have this one, here we go. I'm gonna have this one join in. Alright, so for them, alright, good thing we tested this. For them, the video is automatically paused to the point where the play button is even visible. So that means on deserialization, and you're not the owner, so likely what this means is I've paused here. No, this video is playing, but owner playing here. When else is this getting set? Here. Alright, so I also need to be calling this in here. Actually, yeah, so really all I need to do is update the buttons here as well. But actually, okay, so here's the situation that we're running into now. The issue is that when it starts up, if owner playing is false, the video player, no, if owner playing is true, video player is defaultly playing by the time on deserialization starts. Maybe it is? Oh, so my worry is that on start, these might not be different, so this never runs. Problem is, I don't want to run this every frame because then we'd be like playing the video every frame, and I think that's bad. By every frame, I mean every on deserialization call, so about once every 4 frame. No, 4 every 1 second. So how would I want to do that otherwise? Owner playing, video pause. This is going to be a little bit of me just bumping my head around trying to think of how to do this. Maybe. Do we want to call this before we check our updated video? Nah, sure. Actually, yes. We're going to push this in front of here. That way. So the situation we're running into is that load URL is getting called, and then all of this was running. So then if it was playing, it wouldn't have time to actually update to the different number. So I'm going to save this now that we've rearranged this. I'm going to close all my VR chats. Go back into Unity. It's saved, right? Yeah. And we'll launch our 4 clients again. Get everything back in position. One thing that's a little bit annoying about doing multiple clients is that you hear yourself a lot, and you have to you just have to remember to mute yourself whenever you start, because otherwise it can be a tad bit chaotic. Alright, fun fact, didn't fix it. So everything's up to date correctly after the first time. which means what? What does that mean? Alright, so that didn't fix the issue, so I'll just put everything back. So it's defaultly paused for people who aren't the owner when they load in. The way that that happens is owner playing is false, but video player is playing is true. Which means what does this mean? Why would owner playing be false while video player dot is playing is true when the owner is playing the video, but the user ends up having it paused when they load it? So that means that for some reason owner playing is not being set here, actually, I'm just going to default owner playing to be true up here because we have it auto playing. Maybe makes an extra play pause function for cleaner code. Maybe it honestly should be fine in this setup. Having two different events should it would basically just be I split the event down here. And have another check at the beginning. That shouldn't be causing that. The issue is when the second person loads in while a video is playing, theirs is defaultly paused. The only way that it can be defaultly paused is if owner playing doesn't equal what it currently is, and owner playing is true, is false. So if owner playing is false when someone loads in, then that means the default value that they're getting for this isn't updated by this first on deserialization. So in that case, we need owner playing to equal true by default because this system automatically plays a video. Even to the point where it just straight overrides the autoplay button here. Honestly, not entirely sure how I would fix that, but I think it's fine as long as, like, if you have a video you want to autoplay, you put it here. If you don't want it to autoplay, just don't put a URL, I guess. Alright, since I know the issue is being caused between two clients, I'll only worry about launching two. Alright, so I just have to get in here long enough to have the video loaded in. It's playing, it's doing the thing, it's active, it's schmoving. And second player comes in, mutes, and the screen is white. The screen's only been going white for me when I've been having video errors. Network issues. Because pause is correct. Machine controller. Reference script. Yeah, that's all fine. So there's no errors pumped right now. This actually isn't updating in the slightest. Okay, yeah, I just had to scroll up a bit. Loading failed. File not found. Coding that. It just sounds like it was just a different video error. All right. So I want to check against player error and invalid URL. Because I don't want to be doing this for all different types of error, because like there's unknown or access denied. It'll just constantly be trying to play that video, which probably won't be great for any system. I just want to be able to catch the error that's causing this, because it appears to be an error that's only being caused on attempt 1. Yeah, no worries. If I had planned originally to have 2 separate buttons for playing and pausing, I probably would have 2 separate events, so that I would have like 1 for each button. But as it is now, this should be perfectly fine. I say should be. I honestly trust nothing. All right. So let's watch the log and see what happens. Oh, it just worked. Alright. I guess we handled whatever error it was covering. Alright. We just had to retry if it bumped into a codec problem. Which, I don't know what a codec problem would be covered under, right? If that's player error. It has to be player... Oh yeah, we don't want to be continually trying with an invalid URL. Let's say someone actually accidentally like types W as they walk around, and yeah, so it has to be player error, because that would be what a codec issue is covered under. But as always, I trust nothing, so I'm testing again. Alright, we got player 1 going. Let's get over to player 2. Yep, it's just still covered. So it obviously wasn't invalid URL, but honestly, I can't be sure of anything. I say it's obvious. Who knows what's obvious? Alright. With that, let's go through the scripts. We have on deserialization running an update to see if the video has changed. We have it also running to see if the owner has paused the video. When the ownership of the object transfers, it gets this renamed here so people can see who can play and pause. On update, if the video is playing, the owner of the object is saving the time, and if you're not the owner, you use that time to set your own video time if the difference is greater than 2 seconds. When you type on the URL input, we check to see if you're the owner, and if not, we set you to be the owner of that object. On play pause, if you are the owner of it, the video, we check to see if the video player is presently playing. If so, we pause it and we turn the play button on and pause button false, and owner playing equals false as well, so that other people can get updated. Otherwise, we make it play, we have the play button disable and the pause button enable, and owner playing equals true, so that other people can play. We didn't touch set volume, that still just goes through it. I feel like having everyone's volume settings synced is a bad idea. Set URL, we made a separate one from load URL, so load actually, the button goes to set instead. Excuse me. Then, during this, if you're the owner, if you're not the owner of it, you quit. Otherwise, if you are the owner, you set synced URL to be the value of whatever's in this. The current video number, which is synced to test what video you're at, goes up by 1, and loaded video number equals current video number, so that when the ownership transfers off of you, you don't accidentally reload the current video. Then load URL, that just tells the video to stop, and synced load video player synced URL. Actually, is this called anywhere else? Yeah, it's called up here, so I have to have this separate. I was thinking I could just merge it into this, but this needs to be handled separately. Alright. Then, when a video is ready, it plays it, and if you're the owner, you set the objects to be right. Because setting these objects right or wrong is actually... Yeah, we need to do that. Then, if an error is occurring that is either rate limited or player error, we subtract loaded video number by 1, so that forces it to be different from what current video number is. And that allows on deserialization to run its check again to see if the video is different and play the video. Alright, that's the R of R&D and half of the development. So now we're going to translate this into the graph. Since we already know what exactly we're going for, I theoretically don't need to test anything in it until I've set the whole system up. Because we have an end goal that we're going for. For right now, I'll just move this out of the way and plop the graph version back down here. And the only differences we need to change it. Actually, I'm going to save this as a prefab here so I don't forget things. Actually, no, I'll just bring this back here. Okay. So in here we have the Udon sharp thing. When you have an Udon sharp script put someplace, it locks your ability to change what script that is. So in the inspector, I just go to debug mode, and that allows you to swap it back. And I'm just going to put video controller here. And there we go. We're back to the graph version, which is not great, but we're working with it. All right. So first of all, we need a lot more variables to catch up with. We have our video player. We need our private int loaded video number. Ooh, didn't like that. Loaded video number. Now we need a synced URL. Synced URL. And have this be synced. We'll leave this to none. Linear and smooth only affects numerical values. So like if it's 0 and 1 for like a float, if it's smooth, it'll just go like, it'll like lerp in and out of 0 into 1. So like 0, 0.1, 0.9, 1, that kind of thing. Synced URL. Now we need a private int current video number. I really wish you could rearrange where the variables are up here, but you can't. Current video number. Yeah. Oh, that also needs to be synced. We need a float for video time. Synced video time. And a bool for owner playing. Then we added a text and 2 game objects, right? Okay. Text. And this is just text owner. This needs to be public. And 2 game objects, so 1. And this is button play. And then lastly, button pause. Man, we added a lot more variables this time. Alright, so let's set everything over here that needs to be changed, and it's just this stuff here. So text, pause, and play. So now, to change the actual scripts. So in start, we need to set the value of the text owner to be owner plus that. So let's move some stuff out of the way. Do text owner set text There we go. It's a ways down. And we want this to be, what is this called? String. Ooh, fuck. Really didn't like that. Concat? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to concatenate two strings together, which is a dumb word for aggressive addition. So string 1 will be owner and space. And then lastly on here, we need networking local player display name. And then we plug those in here. Yeah. And now we got our display name going into the text of the thing. And then after that, we're in on deserialization, which we don't have in here yet. So let's set that up. On deserialization, create a group. On deserialization. Ooh, that's a horrible word. To try to spell at least. Alright, so right away we need a branch to see if loaded video number is not equal to current video number. Let's get a branch, plug it in, int, what happened, there we go. Obviously the graph doesn't like me today. I say that and there we go. So we need to know if loaded video number is not equal to current video number. Loaded and current. And you can do string equality and do false, and string inequality and do true. It's the same thing essentially. And I'll just be going out of the true for this one. The false, because they're not equal. So we're going to be setting loaded video number to equal current video number. So to get a setter for a variable, it's control drag. So we're going to drag loaded video number out. Again, false. And we're going to set this to be current video number. Yep. There we go. Graph does not like me today. Then if synced URL get not equal, okay, hold on. All right, so we need to see if this does not equal inequality, string inequality. Just like an empty string, which is what this is. Instead of doing two quotes, we can do string.empty. It's the same thing. Two quotes is just shorter over here. Then we also need to make sure that it doesn't equal null. So a branch, get a second branch. Oof, Christ. Man, normally I don't have this much problem with what's it called? With the graph. The graph just really doesn't like me today. Unfortunate. Because I'm making videos today. I never do that. Alright, we need to make sure there's inequality to that as well. As well as unequal to null. Null? Come on. Oh, I can't do that, I guess. Alright. Drag null there. So as long as it's empty and not equal to null, load URL. So in here we do that with a send custom event. Can I get a name of here? No. Okay. Yeah, that's just C# stuff. And we just call this load URL. Oop, I forget you can hit enter in these. That's not good. Ooh. Alright. Then after all this happens, we want to do a second thing, which is a check to see if networking is the owner, game object. And we need to make sure you're not the owner. Now, the way we do all of this is to move this over here, have this go into a block if it works. Come on. Oh, come on. Block. In the original version of the graph, there were a lot of problems, but 99% of the problems in the graph were the block node. So I'm always hesitant to use it, mostly just because I had so much issue back in January. But that has been a while now. Alright, so here we need to check to see you're not the owner. So networking is owner. Put that into a branch. Oops. Oop. Come on. Here, I don't know why this is being so weird on me. I'm going to compile and close this and just reopen the graph tab. Hope that helps at all. Alright, so if you're not the owner, so we need this to come out of false. I'm actually going to move this down a little bit. Then we need to check if owner playing does not equal video player is playing. So Boolean equality. Oh, that goes into another branch. Right, so if you're not the owner, owner playing, video player is playing. Try this out. is playing. There we go. Udon sharp is a lot better. Please use it. Alright. So, if you're not the owner, and owner playing is not equal to is playing, then we then check to see if owner playing is true or false. So if owner play, if owner playing is true, play and then do that. Right, it's hard to search play because play is in the word player. Play. And pause. True? Right. Oh no, we need to set that, right. Not get. Wait. Oh, crap. Alright. Set active. True. I want my fresh air. I don't want motorcycles. And button play false. I'm just going to copy this down, do the inverse of all of it for pausing it. Actually, I just have to get a new one for that. Pause. Maybe my graph is too big. Maybe that's what Udon's trying to tell me. It shouldn't be. I mean, it's modest. I'm not going to lie. It's not a miniature graph. But, alright, we are done with on deserialization. Next, on ownership transferred. On ownership transferred. Regroup. Setting owner name. All right, so text owner to do that. Actually, I already have that script right here. Copy and pasting is a slow process in the graph. All right, so we have ownership transferred. Now let's set up our update event so that we can get everything moved around there. just play Tetris here for a second. There we go. Now, update is not huge. Update, here we go. Time syncing. Now here, we're going to check to see if it is playing. Branch out of that, bring these in here. All right. So if that is true, if you're the owner, so networking is owner. Branch, come on, load. In my head, I was trying to think of a way to go from calling these noodles to be some kind of salad joke, so I could say branch dressing. But it just didn't come to me at all fast enough, so I was like, you get the parts to make that joke for yourself. Alright, so if you are the owner, video time equals video player get time. So we have to get a setter for video time. That's not a setter. There we go. Video player get time. There we go. Else math. All right, if math f absolute, all right. Video time minus video player get time. So then we get a subtraction. There we go. Single subtraction. So if the absolute value of this is greater than 2, and that gives us our bool for our branch. There we go. Video player set time that. I'm not sure why it's constantly reloading everything. Guessing it's not intended, but what can you do? Actually, I can just put this here. Some more quick Tetris. Alright, so we've got update going. Set owner. This is going to be a short little thing. Public void set owner. So we need a custom event. Set owner. If I can spell. And in here we just check to see if you're not the owner. So networking is owner. Bool branch and then we set it if you're not. Hey, my problem with the object pickable and why whenever I add the pickup component of my object, the object is not synced with the rest of the players in the world. That is because right now the only way you can sync it sounds like your pickup script is working fine. The problem is to make an object position synced, you need to have an Udon behavior component on it, because that component itself has a little toggle that says sync position or position sync, one or the other. This is going to be changed after Danley is done with his big fancy networking update, to the point where we just have like a sync, an object sync component like we did before. But we don't have that right now. So right now you need to put an Udon behavior on something. Just it doesn't need to have a script. It just needs to be the component, and then have a sync position button on it toggled. Set owner. Can I squeeze this at all? Uh-oh. no worries. We're at that thing that sounds like Minecraft again. There we go. Yeah, I'll just put this on loop. I'm about done, so I'm not going to finish another hour of this video, but whatever. Alright, so this set's owner. I mean, I say I'm about done. Again, I haven't tested any of this. I'm just going off of the fact that it'll work because I'm copying it straight from here. Oh god, I actually have a lot to go. Christ. Alright, public void pause play. So we're going to be, here we go. This is the event that it was, and now we get to amalgamate it into this monstrosity. So we need to know if you're the owner. So networking is owner. Turn this into a branch. We wait. There we go. Alright, so if you are the owner, you get to do all this stuff. If a video player is playing, which we already have set up here, video player pause and then active. Set active. Man, this is unbearably laggy today. So if we're pausing it, we want this to be active. I hope that it being this laggy doesn't mean that it just doesn't work. Just gonna have 2 rows for all this stuff. All right, and then we need to set owner playing as well. Oops. Alright, now we got the playing and pausing script done. Well, components. Oh, actually. Alright, now that's done. Just a little bit of Tetris here. I know this isn't how Tetris works, but it turns these blocks into more compilable blocks. Alright, set volume, didn't change it. Set URL, we invented it. So let's do if networking is owner. Oh, a custom. Wait, what's a custom action? I have no idea what this is. Alright. In set URL, networking is owner. Alright. So the owner is you. Sync URL equals URL field dot get URL. Right. Get URL. I'm gonna get a URL. I'm getting URL. Maybe. There we go. Alright, current video number plus equals 1. Alright, I need a setter. Int addition. Eventually I'll type out. Alright, now I'm going to add 1 onto current video number. And after that, loaded video number equals current. Yep. Actually, I don't trust that will be updated by that point. And then call load URL. Send custom event. I always forget that you can hit enter. It's bad. Don't do that. Never hit enter. Alright, video player stop. Video player load URL. Well, I mean, in the load URL event. Actually, wait. Where are you? There we are. Alright, plug that in there. Then on video ready is I know we had it before. On video ready, here we go. We're gonna need more space for this. Alright, video player player, we got that. And then we need to check if you're the owner. Networking is owner. Grab a branch out of there. So, if you are the owner, we need to set our buttons to true. I'm just going to copy this from here. Please copy. They didn't paste in any kind of manual location. Why I expect them to. There we go. So this would be true, false, true. And lastly, on video error. Oof, Christ, this thing is horribly laggy. Man, imagine if I had trimmed this down for a video for you guys. It would have been incredibly quick and concise. No. Huh, they changed the snapping on that. Hold on. They did. They changed the scale snapping between neon and normal. Interesting. Oh well. Deal with that later. Oh, dragging out a video error just actually has no autofills. Okay. Can I search rate limited? Hold on. All right. That's interesting. Here, let me quick check the... How on earth did they get this? Alright, VRChat examples, prefabs, video players. Udon video players, here we go. I know they dealt with the error as well, but they just debugged it. Oh my god, they didn't even check for it. They just debugged that there was an error. I mean, of course, but whatever. Alright, we'll just constantly do it. So if there's an error in graph, apparently, we are unable to search for these different variants. So we're just going to do loaded video minus equals 1. I don't want to subtract bytes. Load video number. Here we go. We are subtracting 1. Video error. All right. Let's double check to make sure everything's working. We have 2 audio sources, pinging everything. Good. This still does this. Still reference there. Still references this. Alright. Now, moment of truth. After doing that entire graph without testing any of it, we'll boot it up. We'll see what happens. I'm only booting it with 1 client just because I want to make sure it runs first. Then I can test it with 2. I love this Zora's domain. Like, the theme is like wonderful. Nintendo is really good at doing music for water levels. Water levels aren't always fun, but they're definitely good at making the music. Alright, so owner name set, play pause still works, load. Yep, that's working. Oh. Interesting. So when a new video loads, it doesn't automatically play it. So on video ready, down here. Alright, so on video ready, play. If you are the owner, we set the play button to, oh yeah, I'm doing all this incredibly backwards. Okay, but that shouldn't have stopped it from playing. Who knows? Alright. Put her up again. And once more, we'll check. New. All right. All right, that's working again. Perfect. Hi, Kevin. We're pretty much just at the end of getting the video players working. We sync wise, I had gone through the Udon sharp script first, and then I went and redid it in the graph, which this is why it couldn't be a short, concise tutorial. There's a lot to cover. All right. So now that we got all this working, let's do a double check with the networked clients, because that's the whole point of doing all this, making sure it all plays correctly to others. And if this works, I can go have supper. Yeah. Remember half an hour ago when I said I was almost done? All right. So we're going to get a little ways into this and pause. Then we'll load up client 2 and mute. Alright, so it did catch it up. Now client 2 is going to paste the URL and load. Alright, it loads for both players. Perfect. I'm actually going to quick swap this to a different video so that we can tell time progressing. Alright, now let's go into client 3. Client 3 is going to test to see updated time on load. Alright, so that does work. Now client 2 is going to pause just after the box leaves. It did not pause for everyone else. Let's see if that pause stays updated for our last late joiner. Soon come to an end. Our news correspondent. Oh, okay, I understand. So yeah, I didn't pause it, but it's still okay. So this needs to pause for everyone else. Okay, so I don't know why, but okay. Don't know why that got disabled, but that's the obvious fix on why that was wrong. Nope, I was wrong. This is the obvious fix. Whoops. Alright, that's working. Autoplay, let's double check to make sure everything here is in the right spot. Autoplay, true, false. Alright. That also needs to be right? On video ready. Yeah, that needs to be right. Oh god, how on earth am I gonna take a screenshot of this graph by the time we're done? Like, I have a 4K monitor, but even I don't have that pixel density. Alright, do another test with 4 clients, and we'll go. Also have a terror map. One and one in my name on VR chat. I'm not quite sure I'm following. That I am developing of a wanted one in my name on VR chat visit. Yeah, I'm not catching what that one's supposed to be. Sorry. What do you mean codec not supported? This is bullshit. Come on. This is what I have the error handling for. It just tries again, right? Hold on. Okay. So, error handling, fun fact, is only done by one person. So I need to actually modify that in both U# and graph. There we go. Alright, error handling. So during this, so here's the problem. Loaded video number, like that comparison only happens for people who aren't the owner. So in here we need to do another owner check. If networking.isOwner game object. Just want to call low URL again. Else loaded video number minus equals 1. And I just copy that system into graph. No worries. Yeah, I can definitely check it out. Here, let me screenshot that quick. So, all right, I will remember the next time I open my screenshots folder. No. All right. Let's see here. Networking, right? Networking owner. Networking.is. Oh god, this graph today. I don't know why the graph is being so incredibly bad. Alright, so if you're not the owner, do this setup. If you are the owner, just call load URL. Alright, that should handle that occasional issue. Should. Alright, once again launching with 4, and let's go. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. All right. Please let this be the last test. Alright. Pause that. Client 2. You need to make sure that is paused. Oh. Okay. Alright, these clients are not pausing. So on deserialization, alright. Alright, if you're not the owner, and if owner playing is equal to video is playing. Oh, well, there's that. That needs to be not equal. I recommend never making a graph this complicated. If you're doing this amount of nodes, please just use Udon Sharp. It's a lot more stable. Alright. I think I fixed that. Let's go. Alright. Who's going to put your money down and say that this is the last test we have to do? And then they'll just magically, fantastically work. I think it's going to be flawless. Everything's going to work this time. We've handled every error. We have set the owner millions of times. Well, technically only once. But we've checked to see if you're the owner millions of times. Alright, we're in. Volume down. Pause. Now that we've loaded into the song a bit, actually, I'll load into the song a bit further. There we go, right before the drop. If you can call that a drop. Alright, now this needs to be paused. Alright, perfect. Now if we go back in this one. Alright, yep. That's right before the drop on that. Now I'm swapping to the video where you can actually see differences. And new URL. Alright, perfect. Alright, client 3, your turn. Let's go. Alright, it is up to date with the others. Now, client 2 has to pause the video. Clients 1 and 3 have paused. Get client 3 a little bit further. And client 4 is going to load in to a paused, changed, progressed video. And of course, since it's paused, it doesn't load up right away. Other features. However, this may suit. All right, it works in all 4 tests. I think this works. I think it does everything. I think it does everything that we need it to do. Just to have like a fully like synced URL changing video player. I will attempt to document this massive graph in some form of image that is readable, probably with the help of Photoshop. And I will have the text for the script itself shared, an image as well. Again, the actual assets for this will be shared on my Patreon, like all the other videos. But I think that this has been a productive stream. So, seeing as that took over 2 hours, you understand why I couldn't quite fit that one into oh god, over 3 hours. You can probably see why I couldn't quite fit that one into a 20-minute tutorial like the others. So, welcome to networking. Enjoy your stay, because you'll be there a long time. Alright. I think that's everything. I'll see you guys again. And yeah, enjoy. Here we go.